Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus and see how this particular phone holds up in 2024, in the later part of this year to be exact. Now, the thing I will definitely tell you is that with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus, this is one of those phones that I personally love a lot. This phone is still very, very good in a lot of different ways. And I do think if you are going to go through and you're going to pick up a device, it does make a lot of sense to go and pick up a device like this, right? But there's maybe one area where this phone may not hold up the best at, and we'll talk about that in a second. With the outside of this phone though, it hasn't changed anything since the beginning part of this year. So on the front side, you're getting a very big 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED display. And this panel itself still looks very good. It's a very, very nice looking panel. The only thing is that it maxes out at 1300 nits of brightness, which isn't really the most amount of, it's not the most amount of brightness of all time. So that is kind of one of the areas where this phone may not be the best thing ever. But I do think this is a very, very decent looking, it's a very good display in this day and age. But just keep in mind, compared to some other devices, something like a Samsung Galaxy S24, you're not getting as bright of a panel, but it still is a high refresh rate panel, which is nice. On top of that, you're also maintaining things like a USB Type-C port on the bottom with Samsung DeX. You're getting wireless and reverse wireless charging too, which is another really big advantage. You're also getting a triple camera setup with 8K capability. These types of things are very, very cool to have inside of a phone. And personally for me, I think the build quality standpoint of this phone and basically every other area, most other areas of this phone too, hold up very, very well. And I think that's a really nice thing going on for this type of device when it comes down to it. So from that side in and of itself, it definitely gets a thumbs up from me, without a doubt. Now, when it comes down to the performance of this phone, I think this is still a very good performing device for the most part for how old this phone is. It has the Snapdragon 888 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM. And the interesting thing is that I watch a lot of emulation gaming handheld device test videos. So basically the different types of Android gaming, handhelds that are available. And a lot of them that are being sold for around $200 to $250 have chipsets in those phones or in those devices that are older than the Galaxy S21 Plus. These are chipsets like the Snapdragon 865 chipset that's inside the S20, and those ones are still giving pretty decent performance. Again, they're not going to be as fast as something like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or the M series of chipsets, the current iPhones. They're not going to be as fast as those ones. But for the price that you're going to pay for, this phone is probably worth somewhere around maybe $200 to $250, probably even cheaper than that. That is a very competitive price to pay for a phone that still has a really decent chipset. That 888 chipset in some ways is better than the 8 Gen 1 that succeeded this thing. And so this phone, in my opinion, from a performance side, it's actually holding up very well. It's not a bad area of this phone. The only area where I'm just not wanting to recommend this phone to some people is probably because of the software. It's still kind of supported with software right now, but it may not be getting the next couple versions of Android. And that's why I would probably say for the everyday average person, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to go and buy this type of device because it just is kind of already outdated by the time you buy it. So it's not severely outdated right now, but it can be. And I think that's kind of the issue that you might run into when you're going through and getting this type of device. So overall, I think the Galaxy S21 Plus is still a very good phone. I love this phone a lot, but it might make a lot more sense to go and buy a different type of device rather than this one. Think of phones like the Galaxy S22 Plus or the S23 Plus or the S22 or S23. Those ones I think would be better devices rather than this one. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.